Hi, I'm Tram Cohen, a guest community artist. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to create handmade watercolor greeting cards. This activity is inspired by Lunar Landscape by Isamu Noguchi, which you learned about in the previous video. In this activity, I'm going to show you how to create your very own watercolor greeting cards to give to your friends and family using the materials inside your museum classroom kit. As you create these cards, I hope you'll be thinking about the people that you want to gift to and how much they mean to you. I'm so excited for you to get started. Before we get started on our activity, let's get familiar with our materials. In your kit, you should have some watercolor paper, watercolor pencil, a paint palette, this is also watercolor, a brush, paper towel to clean off your brush. With watercolor, you want to make sure you have 2 cups of water. One is to clean off your brush and the other one to get clean water from. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to fold the watercolor paper in order to make a card. Remember, you want the textured side of the watercolor paper to be the outside of your card, okay? So again, you want to find the halfway point and we're going to fold it vertically at the halfway point, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay my ruler down and I'm gonna lift it up. I'm gonna try to push my fingers across the edge here and you can fold it. There you go. Now, when you're trying to decide what design you want to have on here, my suggestion is to think of the person you want to gift this card to and what reminds you of them or what things you think brings them joy. For our first card, I'm going to be decorating it using watercolor pencils. So it's very similar in the look of color pencils until you actually use a wet brush to paint over your design, and it will give it a very fun, cool watercolor effect. But the most important part of this whole thing is to have fun. So here we go. Once you're done, you can either leave it like this, like color pencils, or you can use your watercolor brush here. You can just dip it into some water to give it the watercolor look. And of course, you can always add more if you want. And there is the first card. For the next card, I am going to be using our watercolor palette here, and I'm going to be using a watercolor technique called wet on dry. Basically what that means is my watercolor paper is going to be dry and the wet part is going to be what my paint is on my brush. Now again, make sure that side that you're painting on is the textured side, okay? The side that you're going to be writing in is going to be the smoother one, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and lay my watercolor paper down flat so that it's easier to paint. Now, before we get started, what I like to do is I like to take my brush and I'm going to dip it in water and I'm going to apply a few drops of water to whatever color I want to use. Once you have put that water on there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my brush and I'm going to basically create like a pool of paint, okay? So you can, again, make all sorts of designs that you want to on here. I love nature stuff, so I'm going to paint a whole bunch of different leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my green, I'm going to dip my brush in there, I'm going to paint some leaves. For the next technique I'm going to show you, it is a technique called wet on wet. So basically what that is, it's going to where you'll wet your paper first and then apply watercolor paint to it. So I've mixed
a bit of color here that I really like. So I suggest kind of mixing the colors that you like along the side or on a cup or a plate. So that way you have the colors that you want to use already for this technique here. I'm just gonna make some more along here. So again, I'm cleaning off my brush before I'm dipping into a new paint, just so that way I can make sure that my blue stays nice and blue, my yellow stays nice and yellow until I have to mix them. Okay, now that I've got a good amount here, I'm gonna wash off my brush. I'm gonna get some clean water here. I'm just gonna have some fun and make some fun circles. So again, you wanna I'm gonna make some wet circles here. You don't have to do all of the circles. I'm just gonna do a few so you can see what it's like and then add more later. Another wet circle here. Dabbing my brush on there and just let that color kind of flow. So I'm gonna bring back my other one here. So as you can kind of see, with the wet on dry technique, the lines are a little bit more crisp in some areas, and this one you can see that the colors are a little bit more faded and how they kind of flow a lot more into one another with the wet on wet technique. Once they are dry, you can simply write a little note in there to your friend. You can even write on the back your name so that they know it's special and it's made for them. And there we go. I hope you enjoyed this activity.
When you are done, please make sure to clean up your space and put the leftover materials back into your My Museum kit. I hope you have had fun, and thanks so much for creating art with me today. With an adult permission, take an image of your finished work and post it on social media with the hashtag MyMuseumKit.